What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Mint City Soccer Show. I'm one of your hosts, David Gussler, and I am here with my co-host extraordinaire, Matt Swift. Matt, how are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. I'm glad that you start by waving at the video for the audio audience here, but that's okay. That's
all right.
We're here for. It's for the YouTube. That's what it's there for. But here for it. And we've also got our producer extraordinaire, occasional co-host, and secret show co-host of Occasionally, Corey and Scott. Corey. What an intro.
Like all the qualifiers that come with mine.
He's a jack of all trades. He does everything. It's fine. He produces, he co-hosts, you know.
Yeah, it's fair.
He drinks beer. He's here. Yeah, that's all
here.
good. So
Exactly.
Well, we're back this week. I know we had a little bit of a fun show last week. We had Rusty and Vaughn on to kind of talk. We were feeling the vibes last week because we had not started anything Leagues Cup when we were back on the show. And we had a 5-game unbeaten streak, 4 wins, 1 draw. And we were riding high. We were like, man, this is the team that is, clicking at the right time. We just really hope that Leagues Cup doesn't derail anything. Hopefully nothing bad happens. Hopefully this is a great 7 days. And not so great things happened over the last, was it 7 days? I don't even know how long ago it was now at this point for Leagues Cup. But, we had 2 matches in the last few days. So we played Juarez, and we played also Chivas over the past 2 games. And the first one was not very, very good at all, Swift, which I'm sure we'll dig into here shortly. And then the second one was at least a little bit better, but it had some potential injuries, which I'm sure we'll talk about, and impact and implications that could affect us long term. But we'll talk about that today. We'll also talk about some good news, I guess, because we've got finally a left back that Matt Swift has been clamoring for.
Thank God.
For the longest time. What do you want to start with first? You want to start with the good news first, Swift, or do you want to talk about the games first?
Yeah, we could do good news because the good news goes into the bad news and why we're so bad.
Well, we'll start with a high note, so that way we don't turn everyone off instantly on the podcast about reminiscing about Leagues Cup. But recently, and you're gonna have to help me out with the name here, Swift. But Charlotte FC just signed on a transfer, a new left back. So who do we get announced officially today?
Harry Toffolo.
Harry Toffolo. And so where did he come from? Where did he hail from?
He's from London. No, he's from England. So Toffolo, he's coming from Nottingham Forest, a very, very good left back. Unfortunately, he was kind of like behind another great left back, and so that's why he is no longer at the club. He's available. He's here now, and thank God, because it is much needed. I got a chance to meet him. He's a great guy, family guy. I think people are going to like him. I think people are going to like the way he can get up the field, but also is very, very aware of how to get back and actually play defense, which is, again, much, much needed. But I think we're going to get some real quality out on that left side. And we got Nathan Byrne back. So I'm feeling very positive about the next couple of weeks. I will say with Harry, don't look for him Sunday, our next Leagues Cup game. Don't look for him to play against Cincinnati, and he may not even be ready for the Real Salt Lake game. So it's probably going to be after that, because he's got to go through the process of getting his visa and all that stuff, and that usually takes 2 to 3 weeks unless you're Miami, and then it just takes 3 days. But this process should be a little quicker, though, because from what I understand, if you're coming from England, you can go up to Canada instead of having to travel all the way back and go get the visa, and usually that's a little quicker. So maybe Real Salt Lake, but it's probably going to be more like Red Bull before he's fully in.
I know you're tempering expectations there, Swift. But remember when we had Suleiman Doumbia come in, and we were like, yeah, there's no way this guy just announced on a loan and he's going to get his visa. And Dean Smith's like, yeah, we may not see this guy. And then 48 hours later, he starts for us at a match on a Saturday night in Charlotte. So, hopefully this moves pretty quickly. The good news is, like you said, is that At least we got Leagues Cup to kind of go through this next week before we actually start having league games again. So hopefully it moves pretty quickly. I mean, we've seemed to have moved quicker in this process than where we were at 2 or 3 years ago in terms of getting visas and getting players in. I know, I think Top Ben and a few other folks reported he was actually on the pitch practicing with the team today in Charlotte. So it's not like he was just chilling in England and, just now flying over here. He's already here and he's ready to at least get into some game shape and form a little bit heading into this space for it. But I'll read this a little bit just from the official press release from Charlotte FC. But Harry has over 300 career club caps to his name, featured on England's youth national squads as well. We have officially assigned him to a 3.5-year contract with an option in 2029, pending, obviously visa, etc. Spent his last 3 seasons in Nottingham Forest in the English Premier League, and he will occupy an international spot. So Zoran says, Harry's a very experienced defender that fits the profile we were looking for as a long-term solution at the left-back position. His wealth of playing experience in English Premier League, the world's most competitive league, and the leadership as a player will help bolster our defense as we prepare for the end of the season and beyond. So he compiled 46 league appearances with 57 matches across all competitions in the Premier League. He is an attacking threat through his defensive career, having amassed 17 goals and 45 assists as a left back or left wing back, etc. So talk to the fans a little bit about why that's important to Dean potentially, and what I guess this style of play that Dean's trying to get for us on the pitch as well.
Yeah, Dean really loves progressive defenders, if you want to call them wing backs. And last season, Byrne did a lot of that because, we were able to kind of shift, especially when we had Tim Ream out on the left, kind of like slide everybody over and let Byrne kind of go up the field and do his thing. This year, it's a little different because we had Nick Scardina and Marshall Ruddy, 2 players that I don't think were well suited to be in those positions and probably shouldn't be in those positions, and we're really just in those positions out of necessity. But now with Harry, you have the quality of someone, again, like I mentioned, like he can get forward, but he also has the wherewithal to know when to get back and to track back. And there'll be some examples that we'll show here in a little bit of how players don't get back and how it's been detrimental to the team, their positioning and just thought process of playing defense. It's a novel concept for this team. But I think that's going to change with the quality that we're going to have with Harry. And then we're going to have Nathan back on the right too. And it's really, really good to have him back in the mix. And I think these two are going to work really, really well. And I really do think that it's going to solve a lot of problems with our center backs making some kind of silly mistakes too. Because don't get me wrong, I've been really harsh on the fullbacks, but it seems like everybody in the back line's been making mistakes. But I think some of that is because of just having to cover and worry about what's going on left and right of them.
Yeah, I'm just looking at his stats here too, and it seems like he's pretty consistent in terms of minutes and matches played. Like 2021, 2022, when he was at Huddersfield, I mean, the guy played almost 3,600 minutes, had 6 goals, 7 assists in his time there, right before going to Premier League with Nottingham Forest. So, it seems like a pretty good thing. But the only thing and kind of going back to your kind of when to expect this guy to come in and play on the pitch, who knows? Like it could be a few weeks out. He has only amassed around 2,500, 2,700 minutes over the past 2 years in terms of form. So do you think this is something where you're kind of expecting a Zaha where the guy's going to come in, has to get acclimated to the system, the style of play, and be able to, get match fit?
Probably, and it's funny that you mentioned Zaha, because I think what's going to happen too is, Zaha just did an interview, I think, with Top Ben, was kind of like saying, I'm me. Do you want me to be blank and not say anything? Or do you want me to be me and like yell at our player? Not yell at our players, but like hold them accountable. Harry's going to do the same thing. I can already tell just meeting him, like he is very professional. And I mean that in every sense of the word. Like he's not going to tolerate a bunch of nonsense. He's going to demand things. He's going to talk on the field. And that's what I'm really excited about. I think he's going to bring some order back there, and he's going to start like pointing and like calling people out and demanding a higher level of play. So I'm really, really excited, and it's going to be interesting to see because he's going to be on the same side as Zaha, and that combination I'm very excited about.
Yeah, I mean, you've got two players now that's basically left back, left wing back, and then, left wing that's got Premier League minutes and style of play and experience, right? So that's pretty big. I know this name and this type of player and profile doesn't like, at least for the casual player, isn't going to like move, or casual fan going to move the needle and be like this sexy DP signing player, etc., because it's a left back. Mm-hmm. But this is a pretty, I don't want to say, hopefully a pretty big get, because I mean the guy's still in his 20s, has Premier League minutes, has Championship League minutes, and can be a weapon offensively and defensively, and has shown to be consistent, right? And like Absolutely. I said, he's here for three and a half years, so got a pretty good deal here, I think, from that perspective. So so when you look at, I guess talking about some more good news, I mean, you've got Harry now potentially penciled in as that starter at left back moving forward longer term, right? Mm-hmm. This past weekend, we saw a player make his debut after some time, and Nathan Byrne at right back. So, which one was really exciting to see. I was I'll be honest, frankly shocked that he started against Juarez in League's Cup, and kind of just played as much as he did. But what did you like seeing Nathan back, and what does this mean for this back line that's had a lot of, I don't want to say turmoil, but had a lot of inconsistency this year heading into the back stretch of this, league play?
Yeah, I know a lot of people have frowned upon this tournament, and they don't like it. They don't like the stoppage in play. But if we want to talk about positives, the one positive is that there is a stoppage of league play, and that I feel that our wingbacks or our fullbacks, and I've said this 1,000 times, have been a real detriment to this team. I'll just say it. There's no way to get around it. So to be able to stop league play and get Nathan Byrne back and actually have him get minutes is so beneficial to this team. And also, too, it helps Harry get in here, train, get that visa, so we're not stacking games where he's not available. So I think that's a really, really beneficial. Now there's some down for this tournament, and certain player getting hurt. But to me, if we don't fix our defense, it does not matter. It doesn't matter what we do the rest of the season. It doesn't matter if we score 100 goals because we keep giving up 101 goals. Like, it's just, our defense has been so unbelievably poor. And I think this stoppage in play has allowed our starting right back to get back in and get minutes, and now Harry to get signed, get in with training even before league play picks back up.
So I know me and Vaughn and Russell talked about this a little bit in the last episode, but I guess just sticking to the theme of defense, and sorry, I know we haven't gotten a chance to talk about the wonderful Juarez game yet, but so on this defensive line, right, we're starting to get potentially some stability at right back, potentially some stability at left back if everything works out and goes according to plan. One of the players that was on the radar earlier in the season as being leaked about potential move or being sold and kind of moving on is Adilson Malanda, right? And has been a stalwart at center back for us for a very long time now, since we brought him into the club, has formed into a really good defensive player for us. If you were Zoran in this window, and I guess you look at it from Zoran's view and then look at your own personal view, do you expect Adilson to move this window, or do you think we have him at least for a few more months until the winter?
It seems like we're going to have him to the end of the season. Right now he's got like a little issue with his knee, with I think his cyst, I believe. And people always have conspiracy theories like, oh, he's not playing, so he's going to be moved on. Is it really a cyst?
I mean, I'm not going to lie, though. When I was in the stadium against Juarez and I saw him not starting, and I also saw him not as a sub and not on the roster, because I had no idea about the knock or anything, I was like, oh, shit. Is he gone? But, it's...
I think what they'll do, they'll deal him at the end of the season. They should get some pretty decent money for him, so they can go out and, they could take that money and get another really solid center back. But they'll have, of course, they'll have to replace him. But I think we have him to the end of the season. I mean, anything can happen. The team comes in and that money is right. You know, you get some of that Patrick money. You know, you might want to pull the trigger, just depending. But yeah, I think we have him to the end of the season.
Just call up your buddy Thomas from PSV and be like, "Hey, listen, if you throw some Pat money our way, we will gladly let this go." No, I'm just joking. So, but yeah. So I just want to get your perspective on it, because I know we talked a little bit about that last week with Russell and Vaughn a little bit from that point of view. So, but that's some good things that are happening right now. I don't want to start the show off with everything as doom and gloom and everything's on fire around us, and we just brought the pizza in and everyone's screaming and everything like that. So if you know the reference in the GIF, you can pull that up from Community. So, let's transition to Leagues Cup a little bit, right? So for those who have lived under a rock, this is a once a season tournament against Liga MX and MLS. This year's format's a little bit different than last year's Swift. It's group stage. It's all Liga MX teams versus an MLS team at home, quote unquote, and there's some neutral sites, quote unquote, in some venues, right? So Charlotte got grouped with Juarez, Chivas, and Monterrey. And looking on paper, I'm not the biggest Liga MX fan, but Chivas and Monterrey are two pretty big name clubs that are typically pretty darn good in that league over there. Juarez was supposed to be, on paper, the easier matchup for us. So when you looked at that heading into, what was it, Wednesday night, Thursday night, week ago, whatever it was, I kind of was thinking, okay, like if you're Dean, if you're going to go out for one game and kind of go all out, this will be the game to do it. And we kind of saw that as a starting 11. Like we had a pretty... we had some backups or some, rotational starters for us starting. You had Gianni playing and starting in that match. Ashley Westwood was not playing. You had Ashley Westwood was in that game, right? Yeah, sorry, I'm thinking of Chivas. Sorry, I'm getting nods here for us. Right. But, so we had a pretty good starting 11 on paper for this game. What were your expectations heading into that game? And let's just kick it off and talk through that first half a little bit.
The starting 11 bugged me from the very get-go. Why would you not start Kerwin Vargas? If you're going all out, why are you benching your hottest player? If you're trying to win this game, why would you do that? Why would you play Abada? Why would you play Gianni over?
He's a $6 million man, sir.
And
I'm playing devil's advocate.
I mean, he's going to need to play some minutes, because if you're going to want to sell him, you got to showcase him. But that to me didn't make. I don't know. It's kind of like, hey, here's a strong lineup, but not really. It's not. It's kind of like you either really do some rotation, start Brandon Cambridge, Forbes, like Neely, rotate, like actually rotate. To me, this is not rotate. I mean, you're technically rotating, but you're not really doing anything different. You're just making a bad Vargas, decision with your starting 11.
But other than Vargas, who was really the non-starting 11 for us there? Because you had
Gianni.
Well, kind of, because he's also shown minutes to start this season too.
That's my point. So he didn't rotate really. He just picked the wrong people. Sorry. Like why would you, again, you don't start your player that is literally the hottest player that you have right now, and then you play Gianni, who I don't know. Why would you start him over Bronico? Because Bronico doesn't need a rest.
Yeah.
So to me, that didn't make any sense.
I agree with you. I think it's what you were saying a minute ago, Matt, is that he was trying to have the best of both worlds. It's like, I'm going for it, but I'm also kind of rotating. And it's like you get kind of this like, half-assed version of both. Like you don't get the full best starting lineup, but you also don't get like an actual rotation. Mm-hmm. So that was my thing too. Is that either play a bunch of rotation guys to give them some minutes, or if you're wanting to go for this trophy, which it seemed like you wanted to, throw out the actual best 11. Let's just do it then.
Exactly.
So I don't know if that's the reason we won or lost, but I had the same reaction to the lineup of just like, what, you're trying to do a little bit of both, and I don't think it actually worked at all.
No, I was really frustrated by it. I saw it and I'm like, okay, he's going for it, but kind of like half-assing it. You know, like I don't know, really silly to me.
So you had that kind of starting lineup. I'm not even going to act like I know Juarez's starting 11 and what they have on paper or anything like that. But one thing that stood out to me was their guys are pretty big. Like when you looked at because I was there in the stadium sitting in that section and looking at it, one of the big things is that their wingers and strikers were physically taller than a lot of our guys there. And I think you saw that kind of tactic come into play was that they were very adamant about crossing, trying to create one-on-one aerial balls, trying to head the ball, flicks, etc. They were very adamant about that style of play. And I've noticed that a little bit as well and just watching other Leagues Cup games. It seems like they're pretty good at the ball in the air, and it seems like the MLS teams struggle a little bit with that style of play. What I'm trying to get at here is, were you concerned on paper, I guess, with the way that this matchup was going to be, with other than the starting 11, with Charlotte's style of play matching up against a Liga MX team style of play?
No, I mean, so first off, if people don't know, Liga MX has literally just started their season. And there's some debate of why we're having the tournament now. And one of the reasons why we're having it now is because you couldn't have it last month or the month before because during their off season. So Liga MX has only played 3 games. So they're pretty fresh, but they're still new into their season. So I figured there'd be a little bit of rust. But it didn't matter because we were god awful. Plain simple. So it didn't matter. And it's funny that you talked about height. One of our goals that you really want to talk about is we decided on a corner kick to have our smallest guy on the field man mark, let's see, the tallest guy on the field for Juarez. And that right there should tell you why we got our butts kicked. Just that right there. Just how stupid have we been all season with these little things like that.
So let's just rip the Band-Aid off and kind of talk about that performance a little bit, right? So Juarez went up really early, 3-1 in the first half, and there was multiple goals here. I know, Corey, you've got some images here a little bit that you can share for the YouTube audience a little bit too, but let's talk about that first goal for Juarez.
Let's do.
Swift, I'll let you just rip that Band-Aid off and kind of steer here for a second as Corey pulls this up. But
do you want me to go ahead and pull up graphics, or you just give me the heads up, Matt, when you want the images that you shared earlier to come up?
Okay, yeah. Let me first preface that. Again, I've said this 2 episodes now in a row, I think. I hate coming on here being this critical and just being this horrible towards players. Let me first say that. However, I'm also tired of coming on this show and talking about the same player over and over and over again because they keep giving up goals. Now, collectively, we have not been good, but I'll die on the hill that our wingbacks are the reason why we are in the situation we are. This game right here, the one person that I keep calling out every single game gave up 2 goals. So, Corey, if you want to bring up the first one, I can show you kind of the issue with what's going on. And
pay no attention to the file name. I just will say I did not name them.
That was me. Make it very clear. I'm sorry. I'm tired of being nice, man. This is just anyway. So,
oh my God, sorry, that caught me completely off guard. I didn't mean to derail. Go ahead, Smith.
For those who can't see, I've labeled these Ruddy sucks because I'm sorry, and I'll say it to his face. He should not be playing left back. He should not be on the first team. And again, in this game, like every single game, he's been responsible for goals literally every single game. So this first goal, if you go back and track this, now Andrew Privet mishits the ball, right? Mm-hmm. Doesn't clear the ball well. So there's kind of the first mistake. And I will say this, all of our players are going to make mistakes, right? It just happens. We're going to give up goals. But here's the thing that's making me angry. There are players that are consistently bad, and it's making us lose. So this right here, and I'll try to explain it too for people that can't see. So the ball gets turned over. Ruddy, of course, per usual, is way upfield way out of position, right? Now, everybody's kind of caught off guard by this mishit, and Tim Ream is holding everybody on side. I understand that. But Ruddy is having to track back. He's way off from the player that he is supposed to be defending, right? So he's tracking back. That's kind of bad, but okay. Because what happens if you want to go to the next image, everybody is able to get back and in front of the ball. The problem with Ruddy is that he gets back, but where does he go? Instead of tracking the man he's supposed to be following back, he starts taking up space like he's going to hold Tim Ream's hand. Tim Ream has a guy. So there's no reason for Ruddy to be that pinched in where Tim Ream is covering this guy. Ruddy should be, I don't know, covering the guy he's tracking back and that is behind him, that he's just wide open. So if you go to the third frame, Juarez is about to cross the ball in, and Ruddy's in an even worse position, kind of just ball watching, not set and ready, and there's literally a Juarez guy that he's supposed to be tracking back and guarding, wide ass open on the back post. This ball gets crossed in, and guess what? The guy that Ruddy should be guarding scores a really soft-headed goal that probably Cleanish probably should have stopped. But again, this is another example, and I hate calling out players like this, but this is time and time and time again. And this is just one goal. There's another one that he screws up on that we could get to. But that's the first goal. And again, it's just kind of the epitome of like what's been wrong with us all season long.
Do you think that, and granted, just seeing that image, and again, for those who are just listening right now, it's at the 6.5 minute mark if you go back and watch the game in real time. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but you could at 6.5 minutes. But,
yeah.
Is that a scheme thing, or is that mostly just a player losing his space, his marking? Like, because going back to, you mentioned like Ruddy was really far up, and granted, Privet hit that.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be the optimist.
No. It does catch everybody off guard. I totally get it.
Correct. So Ruddy's kind of pushing up a little bit. The expectation, it seems, with Dean's system right now is that our left back and right back are true wing backs and are expected to kind of push upwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Ruddy could have been caught in transition, pushing up. Privet hits the ball, loses it in transition at the 18, 20-yard line, whatever it is, and then tries to basically hustle back because he's like, shit, I gotta get back, right?
Yep.
And so is that just coaching? Is that player? Like, what do you think the lapse is on that perspective?
No, that's a really good question. So I think, if he's being told to push up, that's okay, whatever. That's a directive. To me, that's a coaching mistake because we have clearly seen that Ruddy cannot do that. Ruddy is not capable of knowing when to get back and when to go forward. His judgment is just completely off. So at a certain point, that's on the coach, right? Okay, so, and again, what we just showed is Ruddy was, fortunately was able to get back, right? And so then he pinches in to literally where Tim Ream is. Now, again, the coach could be like, hey, when the ball is maybe on the other side of the field, everybody pinches in. Now, I get that to a certain degree. The ball wasn't on the wing. It was kind of outside the box on the corner, so it's not like it was way outside. But let's say he does have the directive of like, hey, you're supposed to pinch in. That's a coaching mistake. I'm sorry, because it's just not working, right? And so it could be on the coach. It could be Ruddy pinching in too much. But again, at some point, it has to be on the player to realize that you have somebody behind you that's wide open. And even the announcer was kind of all over Ruddy in this game, if you actually go back and listen to it.
Well, he was also over Ruddy and against Chivas too. But
yeah, and that's the thing. And like, again, I'm not trying to be a dick, but like, enough is enough, man. And like, that's why I'm so happy that Harry's here. And like, Ruddy seems like a good kid. He's very passionate and hungry and fiery, but he can't play defense.
And that's what, and I think there was an interview or something like that. It either was with Zaha or somebody else, but they were talking about and giving credit to Ruddy is that he is very coachable. He's asking questions. He has a positive mindset. Mm-hmm. He's asking what to do, and he's trying to work hard to get better at it. It's just that these are just unfortunate situations, and we'll talk about Chivas a little bit later. But like, there's been opportunities on opportunities throughout this season where he should have been stronger on the ball, tracking men, better positioning, better space.
Yeah.
And granted, it's kind of like the Nick Gardenia situation. 20 years old, 21 years old, he really shouldn't be starting. I mean, we were talking before the show, Swift. He's already matched the most minutes he's ever had his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
He's 21 years old, and he's already almost surpassed 100 appearances in MLS.
Yeah.
Between Toronto, Montreal, and us. That's invaluable experience at 20, 21 years old to be at 100 appearances already at that space. But something's not clicking defensively, because if you go look at his track record, even at Toronto, they were playing him more at a wing back, midfield kind of a position here, because maybe they saw something that it's just not working, and spacing and awareness is not there.
Yeah, and he's been dropped to, we were talking about this, David. He's been dropped to our equivalent to Crown Legacy, right? Toronto 2 is what I think they call it, right? So
correct. Yep.
And so here's the thing, like, I get, like, he's being put in a really tough situation. Doumbia gets hurt. No one can anticipate that. So we're like, hey, kid, we need you to play left back and just do the best you can. Now, if he struggled kind of early on, okay, that's totally fair, right? Like you mentioned, young, needs to be coached and everything like that. But pull up the images for the second goal, Corey. And this is what I'm talking about. And this, to me, is inexcusable. If you go back and you look at the second goal that he's directly responsible for, Ruddy, again, is pinched in, maybe by design, whatever the case is. The ball gets switched out wide to the player he's supposed to be guarding. Now, I'm going to try to be as nice as I can. As a professional footballer, I cannot believe the positioning and what happens on this play. He is clearly not going to get the ball because he's not in position, which is bad enough. He takes such a stupid, idiotic angle on this play. Corey, if you want to bring up the second image now. So the player is about to get the ball. Ruddy for some reason, commits all the way as if he doesn't jump for the ball. He just basically just kind of, I don't even know how to describe this to people that are not seeing the image. Just go back and watch the second goal. But this dude gets the ball, and then now go to the third image. Bye. Like, what in the hell is this kid doing?
Yeah, to try to explain it, it's like he took the angle as if he could intercept it, but he clearly couldn't. So, like, by the time the player gets the ball, he's behind him. So, like, in the first image, he's about level with him. Like, a little bit behind, but, like, level-ish. And if he takes an angle, kind of, for people watching, like, going back in this way, then when the guy receives the ball, he'll be in front of him. But instead, if you, like, use the grass lines as a marker, he runs way more sideways as this guy keeps going forward.
Well, it's almost like he's running directly. It's almost like he was ball watching and ran straight to the to the attacking player, because he didn't realize the man was behind. I mean, maybe he did. It seems like he didn't realize the player was behind him, and he was ball watching the ball to go hit.
Like, you should be running like back this way,
correct?
And he runs this way instead.
And so that, to me, we talked about coaching versus the player. This is the player. This is soccer, man. This is basic athleticism in sports, not let alone soccer. In every sport imaginable, you don't take an angle like that. And so you make a mistake on the first goal, and then this is the second goal. And you're already down. I mean, like, it's crazy, man. And here's the thing. If it was like a one-off thing, okay, cool, man. People make mistakes. And yes, we could always bring screenshots up of people making mistakes all over the place. The point I'm trying to make is this is literally every single game. And so, to me, it's a big reason why we've struggled defensively.
So, and not to make this the Marshall Ruddy show or anything like that, but I guess, like, and this is a little frustration with Dean a little bit this season, but, like, I get wanting to play a certain style of play, because I even noticed it during, and we can combine both Chivas and Juarez, everything like that. But I've even noticed it when I was watching it in person, but like, it's almost like we're trying to say, we're going to play this way, and damned if we do or damned if we don't. Like, even if it's not working out, you would say like, hey, I don't have the players or the personnel to run the system exactly how I want to run it right this second. But I'm going to adjust because I got to make up for the deficiencies in our style of play. Because you can tell, like, we're playing almost like a 4-2-3-1. Our two back, their 6 and 8s, are almost like flush at times in terms of spacing.
Yep.
And because we're expecting those wing backs to to push upwards and fill that void of where that 8 is usually at and kind of pushing upwards, right? But if we've seen multiple times this year with a Nick Scardinia or a Marshall Ruddy where they're younger and experienced players who are struggling to kind of play that style of play, why wouldn't you just go and say, we're going to do a 4-3-3 and we're going to basically keep these guys more reserved, more flat, and kind of play that style versus saying, hey, I'm going to, this is the way I want to play. And obviously the team is going to work to get the players that Dean wants, hence the Harry signing, right? But why would you continue to play that way if it's not even working? In this situation, why would you continue? I'm probably just preaching here just for a second, but why would you continue to do that?
Who else used to do that?
Well, so is that coaching? Because like maybe it's just, and maybe it's because I'm not a professional soccer player, professional coach, or anything like that. I don't want to call it ego, but is it kind of one of these things where coaches kind of get an ego and just go, I'll be damned, this is my system. My system's proven to work, and we're going to do it, and this is what we're going to do. Because I feel like that's kind of, you have to have an ego to be able to get to that highest level a little bit and be able to say, hey, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do it this way. You know what I mean? And so it feels like it's a little bit of that, and this is how, but we didn't do it last year. We didn't, like, yeah, Nathan Byrne played wing back, but we had Tim Ream playing left back last year. He ain't a wing back. That dude can trot to the other side of the field and take 30 minutes. You know what I mean? So like, like that, why not go back to what we did last year until you get the weapons you need in place?
That's what I feel like I've been saying that for like 4 months now. Like I was even talking about changing the whole midfield and going back to what we were doing last year, because again, you ask a really good question. Why is he doing it? Because it wasn't working. And even with the games that we were winning, it wasn't against great competition. But I like, we talked about, you play the teams in front of you and you beat them. But I feel like against really good teams, you're going to get found out because, to your point, you don't have the personnel that can pull that off. And we've talked about this. The gaps in the midfield come from these wing backs not being able to do what they're supposed to do, and also get back when they're supposed to get back. And that just pulls everybody all over the place. And that's why you have these gaps between Westwood and Bronico and Pep Biel. And that's why we have all these goals. We are 5th in the league. Wait a minute. I have this pulled up. I think we are 5th in the league in shots against. We have given up almost. We've given up more goals than we've given up all season last year, and we still have like 9 games left. And like we just keep leaking goals all over the place, and that's a big reason why. So to your point, I have no clue. I have no clue why we're doing what we're doing. Again, like you have 2 young kids, and you're asking them to do some crazy shit, and it reminds me of Latanzio. Like he used to do that same thing. You're going to play it this way, and if hell high water.
Well, Miguel did the same thing too.
Exactly.
Like we're going to play it out of the back. We're going to work the spine, and we're going to pass it 18 times before we get to it.
He thought he was Pep Guardiola, but anyway. So I mean, but the thing is, like sometimes you have to be like, hey, okay, with this personnel, I can't do exactly what I want to do until I get healthy people back, and we're going to make do. But I think that's why we hit that really bad stretch of form, and we kept struggling and getting goals scored on us because we kept doing the same thing over and over.
So I know we talked about the Ruddy experiment there with 2 goals, but like that whole game wasn't on Marshall Ruddy.
No.
It was not a great performance. We did have a goal from Toklamati there in a little bit, but I want to touch base on, I guess, like again, going back to my style of play. Liga MX and like Juarez and really any of the teams we always play in Leagues Cup tends to know how to push our buttons or poke the bear or whatever you want to call it, from irritating people, whatever it is. I feel like we lost our composure a good bit in this game. And I'm sure Corey's smirking because he knows where I'm going to kind of lead to this a little bit. But Tokomati, I'll use as an example, got pushed, very frustrated, as you can tell. And got a red card for it was a headbutt, but not really a headbutt, but it's still going to be a red card no matter what league you play in, right? It's stupid decision.
Yeah,
stupid
it was a headbutt. Like, he might not have made contact, but he went for a headbutt.
Yeah,
correct. I was chuckling because when I was sitting with the people I was sitting with, I was like, oh, that looks like France from like the early 2000s World Cup a little bit there for a little bit there. But so just went for the head instead of the chest with the headbutt. But I feel like, especially in that second half, like, and Charlotte probably was just frustrated and pissed off with just the way that they were playing the form. But why do we lose our composure so easily in these League Cup matches against teams from Liga MX? Because it's like, and we saw it a little bit with Chivas a little bit at times too, but it just seems like I don't know, like it didn't seem like our normal selves, especially in the second half from a composure perspective.
Well, I think with the Juarez game, one, you're losing 3-1 at home. You're getting
with no one in the stands.
you're getting your butt kicked, and the players didn't seem like they were up for it. The coach made some questionable decisions. We went down really, really early too. That doesn't help, and people started getting frustrated. I think the referee, though, I think she had a good first half. I think the second half, she really did not do a good job of managing the game, calling fouls, giving cards when needed. Steven, who I sit with, he's a referee, and we were texting. He was just like, "Yeah, this is getting away from her." But I thought she had a good first half. But sometimes I do think that when games get chippy, we can respond pretty well to those things. It's just a matter of the situation and how we bottle that. Adon Tokomati, he's young, and this is going to be a good learning lesson for him. And I think, I hate to say this is an ideal situation, but it's kind of an ideal situation in a tournament. If you're going to, let's do something like that in a tournament like this, and not miss any league games and things like that. And this game was kind of already put to bed. I'm sorry. But he needs to learn a lesson, and these younger players need to understand. And Westwood, I think, even said it after the game. It's like, you got to learn when to do it and when not to do it. Like, you got to get that dude back later. You can't immediately go back, because that's what a lot of Mexican and even Spanish teams do well, is that they're going to push your buttons because they want you to immediately come back and do something stupid. And that's where we got to be smarter. I think Westwood is good about that. He's a professional. And so he knows when to put. Corey, I think you want to say something.
Westwood's the master of that, which is why I love watching him. He is the master of like knowing when and how to needle opposing players and get into it. Like he gets a yellow card occasionally, but he never gets like the reactionary, like immediate red card kind of situation or something like that. He knows it's a long game, and it's so fun to watch him just like slowly kind of work his way into the heads of opposing players.
Yeah. I mean, as a referee, referees are not stupid, contrary to what all the fans think, right? Like, so they know, like, okay, foul for a foul, an eye for an eye, that type of thing. So they know that there's going to be some type of payback. But if you do it immediately, the ref has to call it. But if you wait a little bit, there could be an opportunity, and it can't be like the next minute or the next play. There's opportunities to get folks back. But I just think, with everything going on and just getting our butts handed to us the way we were, I think it was just frustrated.
Yeah.
But hopefully he will learn his lesson. But I do think the referee in the second half could have done a little better job. Because the thing is, too, as what a referee can do, and what Steven was talking to me, he goes, as Tokomati's getting pushed down, he then gets back up. The referee could have stepped in at that point and calmed everything down, because he's coming at this player, everybody saw it coming. So I think she could have done a little better job. Yeah, I just think it got away from her in the second half. But the referee is not the reason why we lost this game. And I will say that. Quit blaming the ref for everything, even though they do make some horrible calls, but the referee did not lose this game for us.
Agreed. So anything else you want to talk about Juarez before we move on to Chivas?
We mentioned the third goal. We talked about Ruddy not being solely responsible. Yeah, the third goal, we decided to put our smallest player on their tallest player. There was no communication, but also, too, I've got to say, Kalina, dude, he keeps giving up near post goals. There was another one that was offside that ended up being offside. He also gave up a near post goal. Goalkeeping 1-on-1, you just don't do that. If you're going to give up the goal, far post. You can't give up near post goals, and he keeps giving them up. So,
well, that's why I want to transition to Chivas a little bit, and because I'm also struggling saying Juarez a little bit, so I keep fumbling over that. So I'm glad to move on from that. I feel like I'm choking on a frog when I have to say that for a second there, but it's okay. So I know, just move on from that. So everyone's for the audio audience or for the audio audience. Everyone's looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about? So Chivas came in and we had a completely different starting 11. Well, I say that. It's like kind of going back to what Corey said. It's like this half-ass, like we're going to go for it, but then not kind of go for it. So
we even more half-assed it.
Yeah.
Like and maybe the first time we like 3/4-assed it against Juarez, and then we fully half-assed it against Chivas.
Yeah.
Because I guess the way I'll say it. I fully hope that we quarter half-assed it against basically if I see any player who is like a best 11 starter on the field Thursday against Monterrey, I'm going to be upset.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there now.
I agree. It needs to be a full rotation.
So, and I guess that's where I don't want to say my frustration with Leagues Cup and really this decision, because here's what I was like, or we were at. We got blown out against Juarez, right? So 4-1, bad showing. Juarez also then continues to play and plays another game and wins before our game even starts, right? Mm-hmm. And then, so I think I could be wrong. I don't know, but
they won in penalties against Cincinnati. Yeah.
And it wasn't like 4 hours beforehand, but they won in penalties before this. It was already going to be an uphill battle for us to even move past the group stage at this point, because we would have to beat Chivas, we would have to beat Monterrey. Correct,
yeah, but it doesn't. Juarez's result has nothing to do with that. With the way they did the new format, it's not actually a group. It's the top 4 finishers from MLS, and the top 4 finishers from Liga MX will move on. Well, but to your point, the point's still the same. I think the point's still the same. It was going to be a really uphill battle regardless. But just to be clear, like what Juarez did had nothing to do with it. It was just the fact that like only 4 MLS teams are going to make it, and you lose your first match. Like the chances of making it out are going to be hard. Like,
well, that frustrates me even more then, because it's like if it's only the top 4, it's not even a group stage where you're like, well, I could potentially have points get dropped, we can move on. Anyways, why would you? So you had Tokomati that is out with the red card, so you move Wilfred Zaha at striker, and then you have Vargas and Abada start this game. You have Pep BL start this game, but then you decide Ashley Westwood, nah, we're not going to start him. We're going to put Brent Bronico in, we're going to put Gianni in. And then for some reason, like the previous game, Nathan Byrne, who has not played a single minute in months, plays 60 minutes against Juarez. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, no, we're not going to start him for this game. So we're going to put Bill Tuiluma in because he's been starting recently, and we're going to start him out this game. And it's like, take David Bingham in, and then you take Kalina out. Like it was all over the place. And I'm okay with experimenting. I frankly would have been like, these 3 games I could give a shit about. Play your non-starters for all 3 games. I don't really care. Like I would have rather have seen that, personally speaking, but that's just me. But you run the situation where now you've got your arguably most important player on the starting 11 starting in this game after it rained on a wet turf. And I know you can't predict injuries, but like you run the risk here where now you've got a player that's going to be out for a substantial amount of time. That is arguably like 20 goal contributions for us almost this season. Like that, there's no other player that's making that impact for us. And you go out on a Leagues Cup game. And I know you can't predict injuries, and I know people, but
Yeah.
it just,
I
don't.
Couple
Well-
Matt, I'll let you go, Matt. I had a couple thoughts real quick.
I mean,
I
you had-
actually,
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Corey.
yeah, I actually liked this line. I know we were joking about the half-ass versus three-quarter ass, but I think this lineup is what I would have rather seen in the first match, because this feels like the kind of we're still letting our starters play. We're not totally just giving up this competition, but we're also resting some of our more senior guys like Westwood, who run like crazy and have just a lot of miles in those legs. Let's give them a little break in this tournament, right? So I like sitting Westwood. I also like, hey, just thinking about some options going forward based on our depth and positions. Let's try Zaha at striker for a match. Let's
Sure.
just see where that
Yeah.
goes. So some of that stuff, and again, give Kalina a break. Let Bingham come in and play some.
But did,
some
did
of
you
those
need to see
changes,
what Pep BL brings on the table at 9?
No,
did you-
but he's playing really well. So you want him to kind of keep his form up. None of that lineup didn't bother me as much. I kind of wish we'd seen that in the first match. Honestly, is something
I agree.
like
I
that.
agree with that. Yeah.
And also the injury thing. I'm conflicted because obviously the reality of Pep going out for a chunk of time because of a match that ultimately does not matter is incredibly frustrating. But people get injured at training.
Exactly.
They get injured falling down in their front porch. Weird things happen. So yeah, it's frustrating, but you can't, like you said, you said it, David, but I just think you can't predict it. So I'm not going to indict anybody for starting Pep and him getting hurt.
Yeah.
That's just crappy luck. Those things happen. We got to deal with it.
Yeah.
So I didn't necessarily mind the starting lineup. But I kind of wish we would have done that from the beginning, because it's a nice chance to kind of try some different things, flex some things around.
I guess personally speaking, I just wish we would have saw, because again, and I get it, you do have to keep him in shape. Then start Pep for the first 45 minutes. And I know that's Captain Hindsight here, looking back and going, well, yeah, first 45 and then pull him out. You've got a U22 player in Petrovic who, for whatever reason, can't freaking get more than 5 minutes in 25 games. And for whatever reason, Dean wants to force him at the cam position. So then put him in. Why wouldn't you just be that's the opportunity to either showcase to sell him or see what he's got, or get more minutes to see what he can actually do here in that situation, versus continuing to run out against a Chivas team, which was essentially an away game in our own stadium, and chasing a 1-1 draw at that point, I think. Right. And I don't know. It just seemed like an unnecessary injury to me. And I get it. Yes, you can get injured at training camp. You can get injured. Remember Cam Newton driving around in the bird scooters in downtown during the 15-1 year. I get that. I'm not upset at anyone in particular here. It just, for me, it just sucks because it's such an unnecessary injury for an unnecessary, a game that ultimately didn't matter. Even if we won, we would then have to go out and basically blow Monterrey out because we won in PKs, right? So it's was it worth it to now have your best goal contributing player out? And for those who aren't aware, that Dean said in the press conference today that he is upwards of 4 to 6 weeks potentially, and they're getting more scans on it based off of a leg injury, right? So
I'm just doing this out loud, so you can shoot it down if you want to. But let me play devil's advocate. What happens? How is it different if he injures his leg in the 32nd minute of our next MLS match?
Sure,
exactly.
Yeah,
There's no difference. Honestly,
but at least for me,
he has had the same amount of impact on the team as far as our MLS season goes. So, injuries just happen. I just don't think this is something that I'm going to be so mad about. I'm annoyed that I get the
wrong,
annoyance,
I'm not mad.
but
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at the team or anything.
But I don't know if I would necessarily do anything different.
I guess for me, and I get what you're saying, but if he got injured in an MLS game, at least I know he's going towards what our ultimate goal is, to try to make the playoffs and be a 4 seed, whatever it is. At least I know that that's where it took place, versus in a game in a tournament that ultimately we were eliminated from, even if we beat them in PKs.
And
very frankly,
he got injured in the first half when it was.
Was he?
Yeah,
I
it was
thought
the first half.
Okay.
No, he was
first half.
Just to be to clarify too.
Attention to the game.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he got hurt in the first half when it was still 1-1.
Got it.
But it was in the first half, like late in the first half, I believe it was. He went down.
Got it.
Or midway through.
And I'm not mad about it. I'm just saying, like, I'm just disappointed in it, and just in terms of it's just shit timing, because we desperately need a Pep BL to help create for us if we want to finish strongly in the back.
Totally agree.
That's all I'm saying.
It sucks regardless. I get that.
Yeah.
Matt, I feel like we bogarted this one
Sorry.
for a while.
No.
Do you want to say?
No, I agree with you, Corey. I've seen a few comments that were like, "Well, see this League's Cup thing." Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, man, Abada got hurt in training. Milanda got hurt. Milanda's hurt. He didn't get hurt in a tournament. And the thing is, like, what? I don't want to make this like a whole thing because people are tired to hear me talk about it. Teams play tournaments all over the world. Almost every single team league in the world plays mid-season tournaments. England plays 2, and that's not even counting Champions League and Europa League. So I don't understand. I don't understand the animosity for the tournaments.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming Leagues Cup in percent. I'm just saying it just sucks because ultimately, like, it doesn't move the needle for me, and we're just losing arguably our best player. You know what I mean? That's all.
What sucks and has derailed our whole entire season is Nathan Byrne got injured in a non-tournament.
Sure.
That has screwed our season. So, like, let's not fool ourselves. And, like, I think even with Pep out, and we could talk about this later, I think there's still a path where we're okay because we keep scoring goals all over the place. It's our defense that sucks. So, yeah, it's horrible timing, but anybody can get hurt at any point. To me, it's just the management of everything. Again, if you're going to go all out in that first game to see and set the tone for the rest of the tournament, then go all out. Put in Mr. Bobblehead and let him. He's the hottest player on the team, and you bench him that first game when you're trying to win that game to set the tone for the rest. You get your ass kicked. Then the second game that does not mean anything. Then you kind of quarter ass the lineup, and you still have people in there that could get hurt, or you could give. To your point, David, give people some minutes that goddamn need the minutes. So I'm pissed off at Dean Smith. I'm pissed at Dean about this whole thing and his management of how he utilizes players or blackballs players, and his subs suck balls. Like, he sucks at making subs. So that's who I'm pissed off at.
Let's talk about a positive from Chivas. So I wanted to pull this up for it though. So one, we did see some players come in and get some significant minutes in this game, or at least a little bit of minutes that came back from injury. So talk about Nathan Byrne came in, everything like that, but Cambridge came back as well in this game. Yeah. And actually looked pretty good at some flashes there. So
real good, man.
Yeah.
Even the commentators were commenting about, like, oh wow, like he's like, because we were that second half after Pep went out, and you had, like, it felt like Chivas, we couldn't even get the ball going towards an attack.
Nothing
in that second half. Like, it was dead. And then Cambridge came in, and you had a few other moments here and there, but Cambridge was like, commenters were like, oh wow, like this is like the best Charlotte's had in terms of attacking options here in almost like 15-20 minutes. So glad to see him back. That was a positive that stood out to me from that perspective.
Yep.
Even though I keep harping on it, Petrovic even only had felt like 10 minutes in the game. He had a shot opportunity there towards the end of the second half before Vargas scored a little worldy, whatever you want to call it. But and then Vargas came in and saved the day and make it at least a competitive game in, like, the 90th minute. So imagine that, right? So those are some positive that, from the Chivas game. What were some positives for you, Swift?
Yeah,
that stood out for you from that game.
Brandon comes in and he played with a freaking purpose. He played like somebody who wants more minutes and wants to start. When he got the ball, you could just, like, physically see the effort and energy. It, like, radiated. Like, dude, like, it was, like, exciting to watch, right? He wasn't, like, on the ball, like, all right, I gotta make a easy pass, I gotta do this, and, like, no, he was like, I'm going to dribble at someone. And if I get the ball taken from me, I'm going to get it right back, and I'm going to dribble again at someone, and I'm going to beat somebody, and I'm going to physically get past somebody. So That was a huge positive, and I hope our coach takes notice. Clearly, our coach does not like Pekovic for whatever reason. And that happens. Every coach has certain players that they love for whatever reason and don't really care for whatever reason. I was about to go on a tangent about something else, but I'll stop there. But those were some positives for sure.
I'll also highlight too, because even though Nathan Byrne played 60 minutes against Juarez, he came in and got subbed in and started playing decent, I guess, in that second half a little bit there and got some more minutes. So I don't want to say I'm shocked, but I'm kind of shocked about the amount of minutes he's already played in 2 games coming back from the injury he had.
Yeah,
kind of scares me a little bit.
They really needed they really wanted and need him to get minutes. I know that for a fact that they really were going to use this tournament to get him back into game shape, not just shape. Like, he needs to be sharp because we're going to need him coming up.
So I know we were just talking about some positives, but I want to talk through this a little bit because David Bingham I thought he played pretty well in this game and showed some flashes here and there. The Chivas, I think, first or second goal where it just kind of curved, and it was just like there's not much you can kind of do in that situation, right? But if you were Dean in this situation, like, Bingham's came in and played decent when he's had the opportunity to come in the regular season and during this tournament. Colleen has been so hot and cold from a confidence, consistency, whatever it is this season. After this tournament, would you stick with Bingham or would you put Kalina back in? And I guess looking ahead, what would you do on Thursday against Monterrey from that perspective?
I would go ahead and start Bingham against Monterrey just to kind of see. And then I'd let him duke it out during training. I mean, the thing is, Kalina has already been benched once. And we've talked about how maybe his head's not all the way in it. He's had some stuff off the field happen, new kid, all those things. But there seems to be such a drop-off from last season. Like, he's letting in, to me, some pretty soft goals and a lot of, like, near-post goals. We've been talking about that a lot lately, and that's just, like, a big no-no to me. Easier said than done. I get it. But he's just not the same. He's not as sharp. And he's not as, like, authoritative, I guess, like pointing, yelling, like, getting on people. He doesn't seem the same. But yeah, I think I would start Bingham and then kind of see after that and kind of see where Kalina's head is and, like, what you're going to do this last half of the season here.
So I know, what was a year or two ago from Leagues Cup is where we saw the emergence of Andrew Privet. And then I think we'll transition to Q&A. But 2 years ago, we saw Privet come in. Is there anyone that's sticking out to you this year, Leagues Cup, that's saying, like, hey, this person's making a name, making some minutes, they deserve to get more minutes or be a potential starter or take a spot of somebody so far in this Leagues Cup?
Man, other than Brandon, I don't know. That's about no
I
one's
think
really.
that's all I would say.
And to that point, we haven't seen those kind of players who haven't seen significant minutes already this season in the matches. So, like,
that's true.
Other than Cambridge, like, everyone's either been a regular starter or, like, a pretty heavy rotation starter. So until we see, that's what I was kind of hoping. Like, I mean, there's 2 different ways to approach it. Either go for it, like we said, or you play a lot of depth.
Yep.
And I was hoping that we'd see some of the, like, the Pekovic is the clear example, but, like, I was hoping we would see him. Like, this is the chance. If you're going to see, like, is this guy going to stay here? Let's throw him out there. Not for 5 minutes at the end of regulation. Just, like, let him play. And then decide, like, I don't like this player. Let's move on with him. That's fine. But, like, this weird, again, it's like the weird half-assing of it. I've said ass a lot on this episode. It's like
episode title.
It's like either play him or don't. Like, if he's not part of your system going forward, just don't play him at all.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. And then you work on moving him on somewhere. But, like, we keep throwing him on for garbage 5 minutes in the end of matches. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Well, we have a coach that loves to not make subs until late in the game, which drives me nuts.
Sure. Yeah, that's a bigger issue.
Yeah.
2 things I wanted to say before we move on to Q&A, because we need to move on to Q&A. But about the atmosphere at the matches, we touched on this. Juarez was probably the worst atmosphere I've seen at a Charlotte FC match.
I enjoyed it. That was my first game back in months, but yeah, I agree with you.
It was
not
brutal.
it was
no one was there. There were not even any Juarez fans, which I kind of expected. I didn't expect them to have a huge traveling support or anything like that.
Yep.
But like the Charlotte fans, even the ones that were there, were very quiet. I mean, it was probably partially the result, like the way the game played out.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, that was a tough one to kind of sit through. Just felt like an off night.
Yeah.
And the second thing, and I texted this to y'all, is I think the team should really rethink the whole you can opt out of Leagues Cup matches if we're going to host all three, because it seems like basically 90% of season ticket holders opted out of their additional Leagues Cup tickets, because that place was like last year when we played Cruz Azul, we talked about how it was kind of like 50-50. Like it felt even. It was a very loud Cruz Azul fan base. There was also a pretty loud Charlotte fan base. And so it was kind of a fun like atmosphere of like, this is like a neutral site almost. Like, cool, great.
Yep.
This was like 75-25, it felt like. Outside of the supporter section, which was roughly half full, maybe. Yeah. Outside, but like the rest of the stadium, like my section, I think had a grand total of 10 Charlotte FC fans in it. There were 4 on my row.
Yeah.
And like, if we're gonna host all these matches, make it part of the season ticket plan. Yeah. Because otherwise, what you're doing is you're creating a road game for your own team in their own stadium. Which again, I'm happy for the Chivas fans who were there, who were great. I didn't have any issues. Like everybody was cool. They were having a great time, and it's like, it's a chance for them to see a team that they don't get to see very often if they live in Charlotte or live in the Carolinas or whatever. Absolutely. Sure. Like I expect them to come out big. Again, like Cruz Azul last year, I expect there to be a huge fan base for these teams when we play them, and that's awesome. It's a cool, makes these games kind of different and fun and cool. But like, it's a disservice to like our players, I think, to make them basically play in front of like 30,000 Chivas fans in their home stadium. And so like, I just really think we need to rethink, like, we need to still have some kind of home support there, because it makes us look kind of crazy to be playing a home match and in front of a wildly away friendly fan base.
Can I piggyback on that just for 2 seconds? I'm going to say that as that was my first game back in like 5 months. I guess my only criticism from like game day environment, because I expect it to be low, whatever. So what's weird to me is that they want to make Leagues Cup kind of, even though we're hosting the home games, they want to make it like this neutral kind of thing, like, hey, we're not going to do all of our game day traditions, and we're going to make it kind of neutral as much as possible. So like, it's really weird for them to not have the throne sitting there and like crown people, because it's like, why wouldn't you, like, you're already letting us do Peppas, you're already letting the supporter section have their drums and have their usual support and everything like that. But don't go too far, because that's too much home advantage, is the crowning and the night walking out to light the thing. That's my only frustration with it. And frustration is the wrong term. I guess quirkiness with it is like, why would that be their, like, why is that the part where they're like, that's too far?
It's also really funny to try to do Peppas when there's 10 people in your section who want really to do funny.
It. Yeah. I saw some Chivas fans doing it though.
Yeah, I mean, they got into it, because why not?
Yeah.
Like, hey, some people are doing this around me.
Again, this is not a knock on the Chivas fans. Like, they were having a blast. Like, more power to them. Like, that's not what this is about. It's more about, like, I was shocked, again, because I expected it to be more like an even split. And I was just blown away by how few Charlotte fans outside of the supporter section were in that stadium.
Even Cruz Azul last year was at least a 50-50 split, I felt.
I feel like it was like 60-40 us. But
Chivas
is
for what?
Yeah, Chivas is a massive club, and even some of our friends were torn during this game that are like massive.
I expect that too.
Massive Charlotte FC fans that were like, I don't know, I don't know what to do. This is my
absolutely.
So I get it. I'm not going to go any further in this conversation, because if what I have to say, we won't have any listeners after I have to say. Come to the games. That's I'll say that if people have a problem with it, come to the game. It's a Charlotte FC game. Charlotte FC is playing. I'll have to stop there, because we literally will not have any listeners if I keep going. But
we'll stop and hear Matt's off uncensored version of this. All right, questions. We're gonna get into that.
Let's do it.
I'm going to start with some of the Pep stuff. We had several questions about Pep that are all kind of related. So I'm going to ask them as one big question and then let y'all kind of talk about where we go with it. And it comes from the Mats. So Matt Nolan, his version of the question is, how can we generate enough offense to win with Pep out for a majority of our remaining games? And then Matt Jones, again, in a related kind of thread, is who do you think is going to have a breakout role from the bench with Pep out? And then what will Abada's role be with this shakeup? So again, all around Pep being out for extended time, where does the offense come from? Is there a bench player who makes an impact? And does Abada play into this in any significant way? I'll start with you, Matt.
Man, really good questions. I appreciate it. Well, we've been scoring goals by committee. I know Pep is a big part of, at least getting if not directly scoring or assisting, at least getting things started. But we have a lot of weapons on the field. Zaha, Abada, Vargas, who's red hot, right? So I'm not too concerned about the goals. I think what could happen is that we revert back to what we did last year, where we had, of all people, Brant Bronico playing more advanced. And then you have Westwood and Gianni or Williamson, play more of a defensive-minded midfield. So now you have three kind of defensive players in the middle, which we need defense, right? And then let your three up top make plays happen, right? And Westwood can still play balls, really quality balls up forward too, and then solidify this defense. I just want to be tough to beat again. The goals have been there. I think we're sixth in the league in goals for.
Yeah.
Wait, I had this written down somewhere. We have scored 43 goals so far this season, and have 9 more games left. How many goals do you think we scored last season? We've scored 43 so far.
45 or 46. I know we were about to pass it.
46 goals total last year. We're already at 43, and we have 9 more games left. So the goals is not the problem, and I think offense is not the problem, even without Pep. Now, I get the concern, trust me. But I do think we could revert more to have a more defensive-minded midfield to stop this flow and craziness going on, and then you got your new, also old fullbacks. We're just going to hopefully be tough to beat again. But if I have to kind of take a positive, maybe we need to revert back, kind of like what we've been talking about, like play a little more simpler, just play defense first and then get forward. But I think, we saw what Zaha could do up front. So now you have like another option. And then you got Brandon Cambridge back. So now you do have some cover on the wings if you do want to move Zaha up front. And also, too, you could play Zaha on the wing and have Tokomati up top and then just have them kind of switch in and out during the game. So I thought Zaha actually played pretty well up top, to be honest.
Yeah. How about you, David?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll just say is I'm not going to be pessimistic too much on this, but I think it is, while goal scoring this year has not been a problem, it's going to be really hard to replace a player that's contributed almost 50% of them. He's contributed 10 goals, 11 assists, so he's been he's been the main engine to the train here in this space. You know what I mean? Granted, yes, Zaha's got 6 goals or 7 goals. Tokomati's got 6 or 7 goals. Abada, Vargas has got a decent amount of goals, yes. But I do think there will be some pain points a little bit with Pep Biel being missed. Even if you move Brant and have a more defensive place, those goals I think what that does is that's going to shift the importance of Zaha kind of helping create a little bit in terms of assists, which I think you guys know he can easily do. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I just think it's just going to put more pressure on those guys. I'm okay with the more defensive midfield because I know we've talked about it in the past, Swift and Corey, that I love Pep Biel. I just got his number on my new Lightning kit, everything like that. But like when he is on, there's a stark gap between where he's at in the field and then to where Brant Bronico, Gianni, Ashley Westwood, whoever it is, between that space, because he pushes up. He's more offensive minded. There's a gap every single game where that space is there, and teams tend to take advantage of it. Mm-hmm. So if we do put Brant up there and get a little bit more defensively, have Gianni or Eric Williamson and Ashley Westwood, I think that's okay. Mm-hmm. we just got to make sure Vargas, Abada, Toklamati, and Zaha continue to contribute, even if Pep is out for a little bit of time.
Yeah. And Abada had a really good ball in for one of our goals during the tournament too. I mean, and I think it was like an own goal. But anyway, putting that ball in was really, really nice. So if Abada can hopefully catch some fire, and I'm hoping that with Vargas doing as well he is, and Abada seeing how Brandon comes into the game is eager, maybe this will spark something under Abada and be like, man, all right, I gotta get going, or I may not see the field at all.
Yeah. All right. Let me jump ahead. I'm just going to say now people ask questions. There's a handful of these that are not super timely, and we're running long, so I'm going to hang on to those for the next episode and touch on some of those. Yeah. So I'll try to focus on some of the ones that are more focused on kind of right now. So Keith C asks, will we get a DP this window? If so, anyone who you think might be likely?
I don't know. Swift,
answer. Yeah, it's hard to know.
So, I guess because I know we talked about it in the past, Corey, but I don't think you need to get a DP9 right now at this point. I could be wrong, but
unless your top target that you've been looking for a little bit anyway,
sure,
becomes available, then you take it, you pull the trigger, but it's not a desperation DP9 situation. Yeah.
I know Zoran has been traveling overseas to negotiate and everything like that. I would imagine we'll probably get somebody else in. I don't know that it will be a DP unless it's, Corey, to your point, like that number one target.
Yeah.
And honestly, if we did get a DP striker, that also frees up a lot of people that could play where Pep is playing too. It could give us some more options, right? You can move Tokolmati around. You can move Zaha around. You could have the new striker, Zaha, more in kind of like a cam position, and then still have your wingers with quality. And like I said, you can move and rotate some folks around. So this injury could maybe dictate some things, but I'm pretty sure this team already has like who they want. I'm sure there's already been negotiations and everything like that. So I would imagine there's players coming, but DP I would imagine probably won't come until the end of the year. And I do think we'll probably move some other possible DPs off. So there could be 2 DPs coming, or hopefully Pep is back. He gets one of those spots, and then we go get another DP. Yeah.
So on that note, do you think we see anybody leave in the summer window, Swift?
Oh,
Not to put you on the spot, but
no, I mean, I could see Pekovic leaving.
I could too.
I don't. As far as someone significant, and I hate to say that Petra Pekovic's not significant, but I don't think at this point you need to be moving anyone on. I think, Doumbia could see, I could see his loan being terminated, and us getting maybe another left back. Buddy is on loan, so you do need some cover no matter what with Harry.
Yeah.
And with Pep out now too, you might need to get another person in, maybe within the league. I don't know. It's, with this injury now too, hopefully it's only 4 to 6 weeks and not longer, but that's still a long time for one of your best players to be out, or your best player to be out.
Yep. Matt Nolan, again, 9 games left. How many points do we need to hold on to 7th, and which matches do they come from?
Ooh,
I think I started with David last time, so I'll start with Matt. I'll stall a little bit as y'all are clearly pulling up FootMob to.
Yeah.
No. I wasn't looking at that. I'll go ahead and filibuster here for Swift just for a second. So, because if you're looking at last year, he said to finish 7th.
Yeah.
So last year Red Bulls was set 7th at 47 points, right? And so the East is a little bit more competitive right now than they were this time last year, I think. I don't think we're able to sneak in at 7th with basically 8 more points in the next 9 matches. I think that would be too low, unfortunately. I know me and Vaughn and Russell talked about this earlier, but if we were in the Western Conference, we'd be sitting almost tied for 4th right now. So crazy to think about that. But I think if we want to be 7th or better, we're going to have to win some points here. I'm going to say 50 to be comfortable, to be able to fit to be at 70 or at 7th, I think, this season in the East, which is crazy to say out loud.
And how many points are we on right now?
36, 38, I think. That right now we are at
12.
38 points. So
okay.
For me to be at 50, it's 12 points in 9 matches.
Okay, so we can kind of go through this really quick. So say our next game is against Cincinnati away. So let's just say we don't get any points there. Hopefully we can, but let's just say we don't. The next 2 games are at home. You have to win those. That's against Real Salt Lake and Red Bull. So there could be 6. You play New England away. I do think we can get some points there, and hopefully a little bit of revenge because they beat us at home, which has really, really cost us. So that could be possibly 7 points there. You play Miami at home, and I do realize it's Miami, but we are playing at home. So you could maybe get another point or 3 points there. Then you are on the road against NYCFC. Let's just say we don't get anything there, but then we're back at home playing against Montreal, and we absolutely should win that one. So just with that, that's 3, 6, 9, possibly 12, 13. So that gets you at that 50.
Yeah.
Then we play DC United away, but they're not very good. So you could get some points there. And then you play Philly at home. That's going to be tough, but it's the last game and it's at home. So there's a path there. We just got to be solid. And, like I said, Harry is probably going to be ready for that Red Bulls game. And then I'm trying to look at Byrne's timeline back. I mean, that may not be until we start playing Montreal, DC, and Philly. So
we're saying Pep or Byrne on that one. You said Byrne.
Pep or Byrne. Sorry.
Pep. Sorry, I may have said Byrne, but Pep Yo.
That's what I thought.
Because I'm looking at that too, Swift, and I wrote all these down. And not to make this a preview episode, we can save that for another episode. But I would say RSL, New England, Montreal are the wins. Miami, I would say, would push to get a point. That would be 10 points out of the 12 that I would feel comfortable with. That means you're going to have to steal points either at Cincinnati away. I don't feel comfortable with Red Bull. We play shit whenever we play Red Bull, to be honest with you, even if it's at home. NYC, maybe you can get some points. Philadelphia, I don't feel comfortable or confident playing against on the road or at home there. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's an issue of making the playoffs at like 9, but if you want to finish 7th or better, you're gonna have to steal some points in the road, which has been our struggle this year.
There's games to do it though. There's the DC game.
Yeah, I don't think
DC and New England are the 2 that I would look at. Like, okay, those are the ones that you really need to try to like not just get a point, but you could get a win.
It's there, but it's not a lot of room for error.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
Again, I'm going to save some of these other ones for next time. So thank y'all for asking the questions. I'm going to bring up what Nate posted. So Nate's who sits beside me in the stadium, and we've talked about this like 3 weeks ago at this point. So I want to bring it up now. Nate's a referee. Just to set the groundwork, he refs, college, high school kind of level, also like tournaments, things like that. We got talking, and this conversation derailed us for 20 minutes in the middle of a match. Like, I don't think I paid attention. I don't remember which match it was, but I missed like 20 minutes of the match because I was like, we were arguing about this. So I'm just going to start it by asking y'all some questions and see what you answer.
That's hilarious.
If a goal is scored and the clock reads 39:45, so 39 minutes, 45 seconds, what minute was that goal scored in?
40th minute.
Okay. If a goal is scored and the clock reads 39:15, 39 minutes, 15 seconds, what minute was that goal scored in?
40th minute.
I would say 40th minute still.
Okay.
It is because, all right, when the clock's at 0 and it starts ticking up, that's within the first minute.
Correct.
Yeah.
You can't have a 0th minute, right?
Right.
Okay. So we all agree.
Yes.
According to Nate, and I want any other refs who are listening to this, because I told Nate this, and I love Nate. He's great, and I mean this in all just kind of messing with him as a friend. But like, my hope with this conversation is that he realizes he's been counting minutes wrong as a ref his entire career.
That's amazing.
But according to him, when referees write it down in their book, they round up or down from like 30 seconds, right? So 39:45 would be the 40th minute. You round up to 40. 39:15 would be the 39th minute. but which also means that if someone scores in the first 30 seconds of a match, they scored in the 0th minute.
Yeah, that's not. I'm sorry, Nate. That's not right.
Hold on.
No.
You guys quizzed me just a second ago, and I said what I said, right?
You hesitated though, so I'm wondering where your head's at. Okay.
The reason, because now that you just said that, I refereed for about 4 years in a very short time frame when I was like 18 to 19 years old. I do remember someone teaching me that if it's below 30 seconds, you round down, and if it's above 30, you round up. That's only for when you're marking it in your little book. Because and to me at that point, it never stood out to me because I'm like, who the fuck's going to ask me like in this 12-year-old game? No one's going to ask me what time the goal got scored. But I do kind of faintly remember that. I don't remember a lot of things, but I remember that. This
may very well be like a fully refereeing thing, but I just wanted to kind of get to make sure, because I feel like as a fan and like when you see it, like even when I was covering, high school sports for the newspaper and things like that, but like commentators or sports writers, whatever, like we always look at it like if it happens in the minute with a 39 in front of it, that was the 40th minute, right? But apparently, according to Nate, refs look at it differently. And this, again, he was like, we got to bring this on the podcast because like it derailed me for 20 minutes of a match where I was just like arguing with him about this. So
maybe referees do that, but stats at least do the normal. So like, if you look at our game against Juarez, like what, because I just looked at, I was pulling up all the ruddy stuff that happened and it was 6 minutes, whatever seconds. And on the official website, it's 7 minutes.
Yeah, I think based on what I can tell is that's the only person I've ever heard say that they do it this way is referees. And I just want to know, like, is this a real thing?
I can ask Steven because he was a college referee and club referees. Or we can ask Jeremy if
Jeremy was the other one I thought of. I meant to have him throw it in the Discord so Jeremy could answer it too. But anyway, I
guess the referees haven't. Well, I don't know. I guess they have to write it down really quickly. But if you're really kind of like parsing, like, is it 6 minutes 29 seconds? That's
right.
That doesn't make sense to me. I don't think Nate. I don't think that's right, man. I don't know.
But again,
it's right.
I will give him, if that's how referees do it, it's fascinating to me that they do it differently than everyone else thinks about minutes in a soccer match.
Yeah,
that's just a whole other thing. But again,
it is very confusing and like
I would get a lot of joy if we found out that Nate was wrong the entire time. And again,
I'm good. I say
this with all due respect, Nate, but I really like this would be like my favorite outcome of this is like you've been doing it wrong your entire career.
I mean, look, hey, so I've played and I've coached, and I have never ever heard of anyone saying like, if it's 6 minutes 29 seconds, it's in the 6 minute. It's always like because let's just go back to zero. If it's
that was my
zero,
argument.
I mean, even if it's 2 seconds, you're a minute in. So that right there should say that you're right, Corey, because like you just go to zero. Like how would it be any different? Like to your point, if it's 20 seconds in, you wouldn't be like, it's the 0 minute. Yeah. So that scenario right there tells you that you're right, in my opinion.
Again, logically, I think we are right, but I'm just fascinated to know if this is a universal referee thing.
I'm gonna Google this. I've already just found conflicting things all over the internet.
Oh, there we go. Yeah,
All right,
I'll look into this later.
Okay.
So
again, we know some refs, but any refs that we do not know of right now who listen to this, please shoot us a message somewhere and let us know. Let's see if we can come to a consensus.
How long has Nate
been
reffing for? Do you know?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's been a while. I don't know how long it's been.
Maybe it's an old school ref thing because granted, this was because I was when I reffed, quote unquote, it was almost 20 years ago. So
but no, he's still actively doing. I mean, he's. I don't want to guess his age. I think he's probably younger than me, but roughly our ages ish. Well, no, Matt, you're old. Just kidding.
I am.
I'm getting old. It's all fine. But no, he's still actively doing it. So I don't know. I'm fascinated.
This would be a good litmus test to see who stick around for the entire show at the end of it to see who responds to us.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, that's just been I like the last two matches. It's come up in conversation with the people we sit around anyway, and I keep forgetting to bring it up on the podcast. So I was like, I have to make a point to actually bring this up because
Yeah.
This has been an ongoing conversation in section 253.
Hold on a second. So I'm gonna, and I can't find the answer right now because I'm put on the spot. But remember, Yordi Reyna scored very early on. I think he had the record for the fastest ever goal for Charlotte FC. I think it was against Miami or something like that in year one. I'm gonna look that up, and maybe because I can't remember if it was in the first minute or so. But if that's, I'm wondering how that got. Like,
well,
marked.
In scorebooks, they always like if you look at stats, they will always do it the way we're saying.
Right.
The only contention is that do referees mark it differently? Because we're all in agreement about how statistics and how it's written on like FootMob or stats or anything like that. It's all what we do.
Yeah, because you have people that are up in the boxes doing the stats.
Yes.
The referee's like on the fly, like, oh, what the, write that down real quick, like. So.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't think that they turn that in like a PGA scorecard. Like, check my minutes.
I think he made it sound like it goes to like whoever oversees the like referees.
Oh, the review,
and that's
thing?
where that's what they'll use to go back and check things from a match. Like, and so they'll use that timing. Like that's what it goes to.
I get you.
So it's for them to know when, like, to look back at game tape if they need to check anything on a call or something like that. They use that book to is the way he made it sound to me. So
okay.
Anyway, just a fun little conversation.
Fascinating.
Something I didn't realize was a debate that we had about in Bank of America Stadium. All in good fun. Again,
nice.
I don't mean this in a bad way, but it was a
so I'm gonna
conversation with Nate.
I will post this in Discord for those who are listening to this. But Charlotte FC, so that I was right, in 2022, Charlotte FC scored a goal in the first 26 seconds of the game. So I'm wondering how they marked that goal.
It's going to be
was
the
it
first
0-0 or was it marked at 1?
It was definitely the first.
It's going to be marked at 1.
You. It's just, what did the ref?
I'm just saying for the referee.
What did the ref write down?
Yeah, the referee write that. That's all.
That's what we need to know.
Find out who the referee was.
Find that
Let's
ref.
get their contact information.
Watch me.
Hello, sir. You don't know me, but we do a soccer podcast, and we really need to know when Yordi Reyna scored that goal. How did you mark it? Do you still have all your information? Do you keep all your logbooks?
You find your book? Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Sir, it is 2 a.m. in the morning. Why are you calling me?
Yeah. Thank you again for reminding me, Nate. Maybe we'll get to the bottom of this, but it was a pretty funny conversation. So.
Nate, let's have another debate for next podcast. Let's keep this going. I like these little topics.
I like it. All right, that's all I got.
Well, guys, on that note, Charlotte FC takes on Monterey on Thursday, so hopefully we walk away injury-free, we win the game, and we show out against Monterey, and we get some younger guys getting some minutes. But thank you for sticking around with the show. I know this was supposed to be kind of like we didn't really have too much of a topic to talk about, but here we are, 90 minutes later.
Oh, I was ready and fired up. I was ready.
You're ready. But thanks, everyone, for listening, and we'll talk to you later.
See you guys.